Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back! Of course I'm back, I'm not going anywhere! Beast! Peekaboo! I see you because I'm YouTube! Famous now! Available in 2023 BC. The album, Dad AF. Rock on, gold dust, woman. Beast! Happy Friday. How are you guys doing today? Well, a little change of scenery. I am currently sitting on my front porch. No, I don't have an audience, but I should. I mean, maybe if some neighbors walk by, might say hi. There might be a little side conversation. If you watch my vlogs over my vlog channel that I've been doing on my front porch, you know that when my neighbors come up and they start talking to me, that I let it roll and I include that in my vlogs. But my husband just got home from work not too long ago and he is relaxing, and I wasn't going to do a drama video today, and then I was kind of looking through some stuff. I watched Shane Dawson's newest podcast. So many people asked me to respond to it. They asked me some very specific questions. So I thought, let me watch the podcast. So I sat down and I watched the whole podcast. I listened to the audio version so I could hear the last, he said 15 to 20 minutes, but it was actually about 10 or 11 minutes that were controversial topics. So we'll get to that in just a second. And it's very, very windy outside in Indianapolis today, so I don't know if you can hear me. I apologize for the wind, but it's a beautiful day, so why not enjoy some drama outside? First things first, I need to get a Diet Coke going on here. So cheers to a Diet Coke on a summer evening. It's my brother-in-law Carlos's birthday today, so please everybody sound off in the comment section below and wish Carlos a happy birthday. And I also need some lip gloss. So I'm out of my last container of Lunar Beauty Celine, so I'm gonna open a new one. Let me get the lip gloss going. When your lips are dry as mine. I should do asthma with this. Did y'all get the tingles? When your lips are dry as mine, then it's Lunar Beauty time. Okay, so let's go to my video that I posted yesterday. Well, here, let's put this over here first of all. Let's go to my video that I posted yesterday about Trisha Paytas. Listen, apparently nobody cares about Trisha Paytas and her asthma. I mean, she's getting a good amount of views over there. But, you know, the video didn't do real great, and nobody seemed real interested in it. And a lot of the comments were like, we don't care about Trisha Paytas anymore. Why are you still talking about her and whatever? So probably going forward, unless Trisha Paytas gets herself into controversial topics like Shane Dawson talked about at the end of his podcast today, I probably am not going to cover a whole lot about her because I know y'all are bored with that. That being said, I think in my last two videos, maybe not the one from yesterday, but the last two before that, I did ask you guys what topics or subjects on YouTube you would like me to cover. And the comment, and I know it's not your job, okay? This is not an assignment, a drama class. I understand that, to come up with what I'm going to talk about in my channels, but like I said, I like to do videos about people and topics that you guys want to hear what I have to say about. And a lot of people were like, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Listen, I think Emily Baker's doing a well enough job on that. I don't need to cover that. I don't know a whole lot about it. So other than that, can you guys, because people would say, yes, please talk about other people other than the top 5 that you talk about on a regular basis. But y'all didn't give me no names. You failed at the assignment of drama class. So could you please give me some names of people or stories that you would like me to cover, even if it's just giving my opinion on that. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing I wanted to say was, I did this video, I think it was, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday or something, and it was called something like, are Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star, and James Charles irrelevant? Okay, of which I will tell you that if there had been a poll on that video, maybe there was, I don't know, but the majority of the people sounded off and said, yes, they're irrelevant, I don't watch them, I've unsubscribed to them, I don't care about them anymore. And I received this comment, and I want to address this comment. Somebody said, Jeffree gets millions of views on TikTok. I need to put my glasses on, hold on a second. He's obviously relevant. I just don't get it. If you don't like him, don't support him. But why hate watch and leave negative comments constantly or talk SHI about his products when you've never tried them? he takes a lot of rent in your head. And I don't know if this comment was meant for me or if this comment was meant for the other people that were leaving comments on the videos. But first of all, let me educate you for a second. I have tried quite a few of his products. I purchased many of his products. I used to give them away on my channel, number one. Number two, when you have a following on YouTube of 10 or 20 million subscribers. I think he has 20 million subscribers. He'd just fall under 19. Well, how many does he have? I don't know how many subscribers Jeffree Star has, but we can find that out pretty quickly. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Jeffree Star, I went into James Charles. Nobody cares about him. Hold on. He's got 24 million subscribers. Let's see. Jeffree Star has currently 16 million subscribers. When you have 16 million subscribers on YouTube and you're getting upwards of 1 to 2 million, and I know it doesn't translate, but you're getting upwards of 1 to 2 million views per video, you better have a following on TikTok. That's all I'm going to say, right? But for the person that left the comment, if you did watch my video, I did say in there that they will always be relevant to the people that love them, like yourself. So I just wanted to say that because apparently you missed that part of my video. You know, I know that some people think my videos are only 5 minutes long and they fast forward through the intro so they only get a minute and a half of my video. But my videos actually go about 20 to 30 minutes and you probably need to watch the whole thing or you might miss something. I'm just saying, put it on 2 times speed if you want to hear me sound like a chipmunk. I don't care. But you might miss something, okay? So when you're getting all worked up about your love for Jeffree Star and you're on the keypad typing in your comment like Gabby Hanna, you might want to pull it in just a little bit, okay? Not to mention that your favorite person out there that, no, I don't hate watch. I don't watch any of his videos unless it's something I have to cover because I could bore a snake. Okay, Jeffree Star and his Jergens makeup and Pond's in a bottle for $34. Bore a snake. I could care less, right? And you know, yakety yak and don't talk back and all that on his farm out there. I don't care. Okay, I really don't unless I'm covering it to talk about a drama video. But those of you that wanted to continue to defend this person over and over and over again, hey, listen, I am all for 2nd, 9th, and 10th chances. I just would like to see that in Jeffree Star. That's what I've always said, you know. And I did watch some of his TikToks, and it is interesting to me, you know, coming from a man that said he wasn't that interested in material items anymore, that the majority of these TikToks were him having no face of makeup and then go into a face of makeup with a Louis Vuitton jacket or a Louis Vuitton sweater or a Louis Vuitton this or a Louis Vuitton that. I don't know. I didn't personally know that happiness was found in a Louis Vuitton bag, but I guess it is, you know. I guess like we can get rid of all of the problems in the world if we could all just afford a Louis Vuitton bag like Jeffree Star. I guess that's what it's all about. I don't know. But thank you for your comment. I appreciate you watching my video as much as you did, 5-6 minutes, and I'll take that into consideration. Next. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about on here, I talked about Trisha Paytas, I talked about Jeffree Star. I wanted to talk about, woo, it's getting windy out here. I might lose my fan, you know. I wanted to talk about this Shane Dawson podcast. So I watched the newest episode of his podcast, and it's called Mandela Effects or something like that. I don't even know that I really understand what a Mandela effect is. You know, I got questions about things. Like I was talking about this in my vlog yesterday or the day before. Why do we need so many producers on things? Like, these are the things that drive me crazy, okay? You want to talk about topics for a TV or a podcast? This is what I want to know, right? Y'all watch TV shows. Like, right now, I'm watching The Lincoln Lawyer, and I'm watching Under the Banner of Heaven, and I'm watching The Staircase, and I'm watching Shining Girls, and I just got done watching The Sinner and Candy, okay? If you watch these shows, do you, like, read all the credits? Sometimes I do. And it's like they got 5 co-producers, 6 executive producers, 2 producers, 4 executive. I don't understand why we need. I mean, I understand producers fund these projects, but why do we need 14 producers on a show? I don't get that. I really don't. Okay, you know. So anyway, those are the things that confuse me. But I watched this newest podcast of his, which is about Mandela effects. You know, here's the deal. And Shane Dawson, like, he puts up at the beginning of it, like, the time marks of when stuff happens. But, like, 45 minutes of it is just banter between the 4 of them. And it's Shane and Ryland, his fiance, and Jared, his brother. I got that wrong in the last video he did. It's Jared, his brother, okay? Who now I can totally see it. Like, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, how'd you miss that? It's his brother. Who is funny. He is funny. I'm just worried that, you know, it's one thing to have gone through a cancellation, and it's another thing to, like, know somebody that you love and care about that's gone through that. And Jared just doesn't seem to watch like what he says as much as Shane. And this one didn't seem like they were gonna like get into problematic topics as much as the last one that I watched. But and then it's Chris, the filmographer. So I watched it, and it's a lot of banter back and forth. You know, this is what's interesting to me, is that when I watch a couple on YouTube, well, I like realistic couples, okay? I like couples that talk about their problems or their issues. You know, I remember back in the day, I'd watch all these gay couple YouTubers, and they'd be like, hi, how are you? We love each other so much. Oh my God, we never stop smiling at each other, and we do it. You know, we get romanticals 19 times a day. We just love each other so much. And then a month later, they're broken up and they're doing their breakup video, and it's always like this, and then they're like, we broke up on YouTube, you know? So I like realistic couples. I really do. And I think that Shane and Ryland show a realistic side of their relationship on YouTube. I just think sometimes the audience doesn't want to see the argument, if that makes sense, you know? To talk about in a video and say, like, we've had our issues or whatever. But like in this video, they're talking about something, and Ryland kind of calls Shane out for, I mean, we know Shane wears the same clothes. Every picture he takes, he's got the same t-shirt on. And Ryland calls him out for, like, having worn the same t-shirt for, like, days on end, and that it's got spots and stains on it that you'll never be able to get out that are, like, permanent in the t-shirt. And then he says something about, they go into that, and then he's talking about Shane peeing in a bottle. This was a big part of the podcast. Okay, my battery died right as I was getting ready to talk about this peeing in a bottle business. Okay, so then Ryland goes into this whole thing about, you know, like, he's kind of talked around the subject of Shane peeing in a bottle. Apparently Shane loves to pee in a bottle. And there's bottles of, I don't know. It was too much, okay, for this podcast. And Ryland was like, I'm so tired of defending this or whatnot. And he was like, all men pee in bottles. And I'm like, well, first of all, that's not something I find real attractive or sexy in a man, that he pees in a bottle. You know what I'm saying? That he can even, like, squirt it in there in the first place. But I don't find that real attractive, okay? Definitely not when I talk about that in a public setting, you know, to be like, oh, yeah, my man's got bottles all over the place. Yeah, why do you need to have that conversation? I don't understand that. And there were actually quite a few comments on this podcast that were saying that were saying, no, I don't pee in a bottle. No, men that I know pee in a bottle. Why are we needing to talk about this, okay? So that kind of feeds all of that. But other than that, I have to say, like, there were a couple comments, and I'll read them to you in a second, that were saying, like, Ryland is so boring. Why is he in this podcast? He has his own podcast and whatever. Well, you know, now that I've watched a couple episodes of this podcast, what I've realized is this is just kind of like Shane sitting with the guys, shooting the SHI to it. You know what I mean? Just talking about random stuff. I personally, to be honest with you, like the banter back and forth that has nothing to do with the topic whatsoever, to some degree is more interesting to me than when Shane gets to the topic at hand, okay? I don't find Shane Dawson extremely funny, like I've talked about that, and that's just my personal opinion. But the banter back and forth is interesting. And at one point in the podcast, Shane says something about how he had gotten this comment from somebody. And somebody said, you know, you have 4 different guys from different backgrounds, different experiences. It would be interesting to talk about, you know, their experiences all coming from different backgrounds. And I thought, that would be interesting. That would be interesting to do that, you know? So do that. Like, you don't need to have these topics like conspiracy theories or the Mandela effect or controversial subjects. But I think that Shane is so worried that if he doesn't put that in the title, people won't go watch, right? And that to me is disingenuous, because it's like, I'm getting you here for the Mandela effects, which are boring at most. And then I listened to, so what he does is the podcast is like an hour and 13 minutes or something like that. And then he puts 10 minutes, he said 15 or 20, but it was like 10 or 11 on the audio version of it. So if you go over on iTunes and you listen to the audio version of it, you get their feedback on controversial subjects, which was one about Oprah, one about animals, and it was silly. You know, you go over there because you think that they're going to talk about these things. The other thing I do want to say is this, that another portion of this podcast, a rather large portion of this podcast, is yet again devoted to Shane Dawson talking about being canceled, okay? Asking Chris how he would have handled if he was dating Shane during the time that he was canceled, talking to Ryland about Ryland not being bothered with what other people think about him, and on and on and on. And I just thought, how long are you going to continue to talk? I mean, you're the one that's continuing to remind people that you were supposedly canceled, you know? It's like you're the one that's continuing to bring up the conversation, and obviously you still have huge issues with that. So, I don't know, do a whole podcast and call it being canceled, you know, and share what that experience was like and talk about that, because that would get views, first of all. Second of all, you obviously want to talk about it, so talk about it, right? Tell your truth on it. There's no problem with that. Share your truth. Share what you want to share. I did want to read a couple of the comments because there were some that people were talking about Ryland on here, and I wanted to address these comments. So hold on a second. Somebody said, I really don't like Ryland on this podcast. He makes it negative, and he has his own podcast that I haven't watched after the first two. I'm just bored with him. I do watch his regular channel. I'm not trying to be mean, but he isn't the SHI Tut. Sorry, Ryland. And then somebody else responds and says, Ryland is so boring, LMAO, and no, Ryland, our boyfriends don't pee in bottles when they have access to a bathroom, and they also don't leave them around the house, next to their beds and in their cars. Storing multiple pee-filled bottles in your car and bedroom and then inviting your friends into them before getting rid of said bottles is not normal. And so there was that, and then there was this positive comment that I found that said, oh my god, because Ryland says that people always think that he's a bitch, and that in Shane's past videos on his main channel that people would say that he was a spoiled brat and all this kind of stuff. Well, he did come across that way back in the day when it was like, how much are we going to make off of this palette? He did seem that way. He seemed money hungry, and he would talk about like wanting Gucci this and Louis Vuitton that. I mean, it did seem that way. Ryland doesn't seem to me to be like that today. I don't know, maybe all of this that he went through was some cathartic change for him. Maybe he was never that way to begin with, and it was just him being exposed to a lot of money and opportunity, and who's to say we wouldn't all be that way? I have to personally say, well, let me read this comment first. The comment says, oh my god, Ryland, you aren't a bitch. You level out the group, and Shane needs you to be grounded. You have earned everything you have, and you share your life with all of us. If someone doesn't appreciate that or you, that's on him. And I'm just being honest about this. I don't know what I said in my last one, that I didn't understand why Ryland was in it. He's got the sip. I probably said all that. But seeing this second or third one, like Ryan, you know, secures his place on this podcast, and it's enjoyable to hear him talk, especially off of Shane and their responses to each other and how they kind of all talk about things. And you can see that certain topics that come up, like Ryland's kind of like cringing at him and things like that, and other things he doesn't that he feels like are normal. The peen, he talks about taking videos and all this kind of stuff. But I don't think he's necessarily boring on the podcast. I don't know that I think the podcast is necessarily boring in general. Would I watch it or listen to it if I wasn't covering it for a video? No, because I'm not a Shane Dawson fan, and it doesn't carry itself enough for me alone to be that interesting. I like true crime podcasts, okay? And even some of them I don't like. So it takes a lot for me to stay focused. So I think if you're a Shane Dawson fan, you'll love the podcast and you'll want to listen to it. If you're not, were there moments that I laughed and I thought it was funny? Sure, there were some of those. You know, were there moments that I was cringe and like, why are you talking about this? Sure, there were those too. You know, I got a couple comments from people asking me to talk about, did it seem awkward or uncomfortable that Shane was flirting with Chris, his cameraman? And did I think that it was inappropriate in front of Ryland? Okay? First of all, and I watched the whole entire vlog from beginning to end, I did not witness one moment where I felt like Shane was flirting with Chris. Not one moment. And I said in my last coverage of this, I said that I thought that Chris was attractive, and they actually go in and talk about that, and talk about, not me saying it, but talking about comments that he received afterwards. And that would have been an opportune moment for Shane Dawson to make, and I was waiting in that moment because people had commented about that. That would have been an opportune moment for Shane to make comments or jokes about being attracted to Chris or thinking of that, you know, being flirty with him. I didn't see it at all. I did not see it, not one bit. And, you know, and he does go in at this one point and talk about how he loves Ryland and, you know, what he loves Ryland for. And I'm not going to ruin that for you. You should go watch that part of the podcast. But You know, is the podcast problematic? No, not yet. Is there drama surrounding it? I think so, because people are I mean, the Reddit threads are talking about it, and they're looking for any little thing, you know, to go off on Shane about, and I think that's always going to be their situation. But, you know, if that happens and that occurs, sure, I'll call it out. Until then, I don't see that. I don't. I will say this, and a couple people commented about that. He's got ads on these podcasts, so he's getting ads on his videos again. I think he was, for a long time, went without ads on his videos. So there's that. I don't know. You know, I'll continue to watch it for the next couple podcasts until, if I grow bored of it, I won't watch it anymore. If I am entertained by it, I'll continue to watch it. And yeah, so I'd be really interested actually to know what you guys think of the podcast if you watched it. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.